Hey guys, this is Chris again, Broken Nib RC, and I just picked up a new radio. I guess this thing hit the streets last week. Got it on a pre-order, and I have I don't know, I've always had Spektrum radios. Everybody kind of picks getting a radio in this hobby is like, it's kind of like getting married a little bit. You have to commit to the long haul because as soon as you get more than one model, you're talking receivers and how cheap they are. You know what I mean. It's like a system. You have to invest in a system. And from very early on, I went with. I just happened to go with Spektrum, and not Futaba or high tech. Although today they do make some great alternatives. This is not my first radio, but this is one of the early ones. I think it's a 2-channel. Went from that and a couple of iterations, ended up with a DX4S, which I loved dearly. And this thing has gone on many adventures and has a backlit LED, the whole 9 yards. When the DX5 came out, I went ahead and chipped in the money and bought this. This is the first gen. This is the one that's with all the problems. It has this terrible swiping indicator on it. Nowadays, a lot of people just go ahead and get the DX5C, which basically they put a scroll wheel on it, which that was the deal with this, which it worked out great. This one had all kinds of problems. Not only did this input suck. In fact, I remember they had I think Spektrum had a instructional video on how to use this. And it didn't matter how you set it up or how fast, the input speed or anything like that. It still sucked. It could never get the hang of it. Inputting like model names and stuff was just unreal, just unbelievable. You have to it's a process, and it would take me like over an hour, and a lot of that was just setting it down and walking away from it because it was just so bad. And the great thing about this, which I don't understand, when they released this, like I said, backlit LED. At the time, we were doing all these G6s and everything. Come on, turn on. At the time, we were doing all these G6s and everything. And out here in California, I was up in Cisco Grove and they were doing, the scale thing was getting really popular. Hence, that's why I'm assuming that was the thought behind the design of this one. Anyway, this was like a racing radio. It was great. Had a backlit LED, which you just hit a button, backlights up, had a little scroll thing in there, no problem. No problem inputting stuff. Obviously, compared to earlier versions, you had like a stubby antenna. It was 2.4 gigahertz, but they had their spread spectrum technology came in there, which was pretty welcome because in those days, anytime you had more than 5 guys, in a ditch turning on their radio at an event, there was all kinds of, you'd get all these crazy conflicts and it was just a real pain in the butt. But this 2.4, the way they did the ID on it, the software is very solid. But it was just a pain. Anyway, people were doing stuff at night, doing night trails and all this kind of thing. And then they go to this, and I don't know what they were thinking. It's like a radio with there's nothing backlit on it, so you can't see the display half the time, especially when it gets dark, obviously. Yeah, and they marketed it, which I'm sure it's common knowledge by now, these are not waterproof in any way. They are no more waterproof than these are. They had marketing materials. I don't think they still have the video, but they had marketing materials. A couple of clowns crossing a creek with these things, and they drop the radio and they go swimming, or I don't know what it is. They're on the Titanic, blah, blah, blah. Even the even the video they had attached for this one, it's full of mud for some reason. I guess we're a bunch of pigs. We wallow in the mud all the time. I don't understand. Their marketing on this radio is, in my opinion, just god-awful. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, yeah, this thing has the, you know, it has these bumpers on it. It doesn't make any sense. The boards are not, they're not coated with anything, to my knowledge. They're not resin coated. They're not, you know, dipped. Nothing. They're just, you know, so, and this thing is not going to keep out any water. It's no more shock resistant than this thing is. I've dropped this down canyons, you know. I mean, it's a hardy radio. It's all solid state to begin with. So they're not that terribly sensitive. That guy, I've seen guys down at the ocean use these on the coast, like down by PCH in California, and they would croak. You know, the salt water would get to them, and the things would, you know, would croak. These are, from this generation on, it's pretty solid stuff. I mean, most radios are nowadays anyway. So, yeah, the reason. So yeah, I've had a love-hate relationship with this. The programming and the software, though, to be honest with you, for what I do and what most people do, which is running bashers, you know, if I was doing speed runs, or I don't even know if drag racing would apply, but you know, for most speed runs and that kind of thing, obviously, Futaba's, I think I have a lot better software for that. For general bashing and that, I don't know, it's kind of good to go. And since, you know, everything comes out of Horizon nowadays, when you get a Mojave, they're on Spektrum and everything else. So when I got my SEX6, everything was bound up. You know, they all came with their receivers. It was no big deal to bind it to the radio. This thing has, I really do enjoy the ergonomics of this radio. Like I said, the front tab, the antenna is hidden, and on this, when they went to this design, it's very well hidden. It's not bad. You could set it down a lot of different ways, no problem. These things, you know, these like baby bumpers or whatever they are, you know, a couple times in the heat, they start separating. I had to back it up with silicone and put it in a clamp for a while. You know, it takes some work. They come with this thing. I don't know about the new version if they address that, but as far as putting a lanyard on this, I wouldn't even bother. Don't even try. I ended up yanking this out because it breaks almost immediately. But that being said, the ergonomics of the radio I really enjoy. I've got large mitts. You know, I got big old paws. So, like for me, it's pretty natural. When this DX4, you know, I ended up putting athletic tape on there to kind of beef up the grips and help. You know, when you're holding it for, you know, in those days it was 6-8 hours at a time, so it kind of made sense. When you're this thing has that bar up front, which is pretty cool. Honestly, it came in handier than I thought. I ended up putting a strip of aluminum, just a strip of aluminum from Home Depot in there. I actually made a camera mount, basically just out of aluminum flat stock from Home Depot, where you could put a GoPro on there. You could, you know, use it to attach whatever. The plastic one that came with it was pretty flimsy, so I ended up just putting a piece of aluminum, which kind of helps balance out the weight a little bit. The new version, I don't know about the black radios, but I know obviously this is the green. The green and the orange have the same kind of rubber on this, and I have to admit I really like this because when you're out, you know, hooking up a battery and all that kind of stuff on the hood of your car, I could set this down on the hood of my truck and it doesn't slide off and fall off the truck. You know, that kind of thing. You know, if I set it down, it's pretty well set down, and it's pretty well balanced. You know, but like, you know, that's kind of your best bet right there, and it's not really going to go anywhere. It's not bad as far as the lanyard's concerned. Like this guy ended up putting an old Tamiya deal on there, and he used to hang either, put a lanyard on that, hanging around. I wouldn't recommend taking these apart at all, honestly. But, and I don't trust this at all, but it does have the one on the bottom. So you can kind of go from there. Hell, you can make something that straps onto here. This is an easy mod. In fact, I'll end up taking this off and put it on here. Yeah, like I said, it's, like I could have got the C version, which has the touch wheel on it. It's not a touch wheel, but it's just a different version of this, which is a bit more, a lot more analog, doesn't break on you. It makes a lot more sense. It's also a lot cheaper radio. These are going for over $200. But honestly, I like the ergonomics of this thing, and I'm really used to it. It's great one-handed. It's not a big deal. The new versions, let's see if I can get this off one-handed. Oh, there we go. The new versions have a USB-C connector on them, which is kind of nice. So obviously if you do, like, you're updating the BIOS, that kind of thing, it's a little easier. It's just a little bit more convenient than the connector that came with this. Also, there's I think it's new for this one. There's a mode that you can use this radio as a game port. You set it up. You have to set it up. There's a USB settings in the menu, and it basically doesn't emit. It shuts down the RF portion of the radio, so you could use it as a game controller, which is kind of cool. I actually tried it out on. I think it's on Wreckfest. It actually recognizes it as a Spektrum controller, so it's kind of cool. I haven't tried it on the rock crawling stuff, but it's and of course you're hardwired too. All you do is a USB USB to USB-C, hook it up, and you set it up just like a regular radio. They suggest putting it in under a different like its own separate model number. Yeah, which is cool. So you set it up. You set all your endpoints and travel and everything else, and use it as a game controller so you can kind of play around on your computer with it, which is kind of cool. It's a good way to practice. I like it. I'm really happy with that. I think the menus are about the same. This bit is an improvement. It's not, we don't have the slide anymore. So it's basically, middle button is okay, and then your up and your down are separate inputs. So obviously there's different parameters you can set on that, whether it clicks quickly or not in the menus. It's not bad. They're a little close together. Like I said, I got big old mitts, so it's taken. I've gone ahead and programmed about 4 or 5 models so far into it. And it takes a little getting used to, but honestly, the learning curve is a lot better on this than it is on this. So it's really not that bad. In fact, you have to kind of unlearn, you start swiping around and stuff, but they're really kind of close together, which is, that's about my only kind of complaint on it. These are a little close together, so it takes a while to get used to, exactly where to touch things. But outside of that, it's like I said, it's still pretty good to learn on. Yeah. So the other thing I noticed is that this is a 6-channel radio, but I don't think Spektrum has a 6-channel receiver yet. So their only option right now, I think I don't know. I'm pretty sure, even it says it on the box, it only comes with a 5-channel receiver if you go that option. This was radio only. The black comes with the receiver, but I think it only comes with a 5-channel receiver. That's the other thing, is that the receivers are getting expensive nowadays, but for most bashers and stuff, I think you can get the 2-channel. I usually just get a 2-3-channel anyway, but all the prices have gone up. But everything's gone up the last couple of years, so what do you got to do? I don't know if it's like that with Fly Sky or not. I think they're still pretty affordable, but yeah. So I've got like one 5-channel receiver. I think it's for my Phoenix. That's the only truck I really use it on. I don't even use all 5 channels, honestly. So it's, you know, your mileage may vary on that one. I know there's other radios that have more channels, but you know, for me, I just want something that I could, that I use every time I go out. I'm used to it. It becomes like an extension of yourself, and it's like no muss, no fuss. I don't like carrying, you know, that's why I don't like radio. That's another reason I don't like radio runs, because I don't want to have to bring a basket full of radios to run a bunch of stuff. You know, if I had a bunch of kids and that'd be a different story, obviously. But this thing's same thing's 20 model memory. I think it's the same as the other one, and we're pretty much good to go. So just wanted to make this video as kind of a heads up if you're thinking about getting into the whole Spektrum thing or not. Some people, you know, like I said, everybody's different. You know, I've always, honestly, I have a history with their radios, so it's kind of nice. And I do like their software. They've made a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of dumb design decisions in this, but they're not all, you know, not that bad really. And compared to some others, you're always going to have something. And it's the software for me. Like I don't go get hit if I'm with a crowd of people. I'm at an event, I don't have to worry about getting hit, or, you know, someone else controlling my radio, or like in the old days, you used to turn, and this is 2.4 gig, you know, you used to turn your radio on, and especially up at Cisco Grove, nothing would happen. And you'd be down there with like 50 guys, and they would have these gold rush starts, you know, these where everybody starts at once, which is really cool. But, you know, only a quarter of them could get their radios running because it was just the terrain of the place. And, you know, everybody was trying to get, basically, get frequency position. So it was just kind of ridiculous. Haven't had that happen in years and years and years. I hear stories every once in a while that, you know, I guess these things don't work either, but I've never experienced it. Like I said, the software is still really solid, but just don't go swimming with this radio. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, hope that helped. Just kind of wanted to report. Finally bought something, you know, while I have the money and I can buy something new. I just want to do a quick review on it, and kind of go from there. I don't know. I guess I could do the like and subscribe and all that crap, but whatever. Do what you want. Don't you get tired of that? I'm sorry. I don't know. I've been in this hobby for so long. It gets old. I mean, don't get me wrong. The social media has been kind of great for the hobby compared to what it used to be, where you wait for a month to get a magazine, that kind of thing. But now I'm just so over the like and subscribe and give me free stuff. So my alarm's going off. I'm talking too much. You guys have a great day, and there you go. Have a good one.